Well, it looks like Xi Jinping is at it again. Chinese President Xi Jinping proposes global QR code system to help free up travel. This is courtesy of the South China Morning Post. Well, this sounds like something straight out of the pages of a George Orwell book, but let's hop into the details and see what this is all about. Xi tells G20 summit that countries need to standardize arrangements and open up fast tracks to help get people on the move again. The codes are widely used in China, but will other countries sign up for such a scheme? That's a good question there, Miss Karen Jung. That's who published this article. Chinese President Xi Jinping has proposed using a global QR code system to enable cross border movement of people amid the coronavirus pandemic. Okay, it says addressing the virtual G20 summit on Saturday night, Xi said a global mechanism involving mutual recognition of health certificates, including nucleic acid test results in the form of QR codes, could be used to enable cross border travel. We hope more countries will join this mechanism, Xi said, according to a transcript published by state news agency Xinhua. We need to further standardize policies and establish fast tracks to facilitate the orderly flow of people. The proposal is part of China's suggestions on what would be done to cope with the pandemic. She also repeated that China was willing to share its vaccines with the rest of the world. I think that's going to be a hard no, She. I'm going to pass on the vaccine offer from you. We have a couple of our own here in America that are just about done being produced, going through trials, so I'll just waited out for one of those. But I do appreciate the offer, and it's not necessarily that I'm anti-Chinese or anti your stance on what is it, like China first, I believe is the Chinese policy currently. I just think that as an American, it should be okay to say, hey, America first is our policy as well, right? I think the goals of every politician that we have in our nation should be to put the values and welfare of American citizens before anything. And it almost seems as if you say that in today's media, it's some sort of blasphemous terms when really it's just common sense. And it doesn't mean that you're anti any other nation. It just means that you're proud of your nation and you want to see your fellow countrymen do well and their values placed first and foremost in the minds of their politicians. And I'm pretty sure that that's the extent of it. All right, before I ramble all day, let's get back to the article. QR codes are barcodes that hold information that can be scanned and read by smartphones. They are in widespread use in China, but it is not clear whether other countries could or would sign up for such a system as a way of testing and tracking people. Countries have different quarantine and entry rules for foreign passengers, making it hard for cross border travel. Some are talking about opening up travel bubbles to make movement easier. However, travel bubbles can be fragile. Hong Kong had to suspend its plan for one with Singapore for 2 weeks on Saturday, a day before it was expected to take effect, as a fourth wave of infections hit the city. China has largely brought the pandemic under control and has few domestic travel restrictions, but mobile phone QR codes to prove health status and travel records have been mandatory since February. A green QR code means the holder is healthy and can travel, while a yellow or red code means the individual has to be quarantined. So the Chinese system is similar to the red light, right? Green means go, red means stop. The Hong Kong government is reportedly preparing to roll out a QR code system to pave the way for Hong Kong residents to enter the mainland without a 14-day mandatory quarantine. A nucleic acid test might be required for the proposed code, and with a negative test result, an applicant could apply for a QR health code in an online system. However, such a health code has raised concerns among some about possible leaks of critical personal information. So it seems that at some point, we're all going to have to show our papers in order to travel. But in some ways, we already do. We have a passport, a driver's license, ID, whatever you may have. Continuing on with the article, starting from this month, China has significantly tightened its entry requirements by adding an IgM antibody test. Most, if not all, foreign and Chinese nationals flying into the country are required to present negative results for both nucleic acid and IgM antibody tests administered 48 hours before boarding. The two tests are also required for transit flights, effectively ruling out transfer flights to the country because no international airport can offer such services to passengers, so there definitely is some wrinkles in their system. Previously, China-bound passengers were only required to show a negative result for a nucleic acid test taken 72 hours before boarding, as well as submit to 14 days of quarantine upon arrival. So what do you think about having to show your papers to travel? On one hand, it should cut down on the spread of the virus, while on the other hand, it is kind of an authoritarian measure. I'd like to know your thoughts on this in the comments. One thing I think we can all agree on is that the world is changing quickly in 2020. I give you this article as evidence. KFC rolls out self-driving food trucks in China, and it's sort of wild. This is courtesy of CNET. Some experts believe the self-driving cars are in for a boom, thanks to how the pandemic has started to reshape how we purchase goods. When a top priority is to slow the spread of the pandemic, having things delivered can help some people. Now take the driver out of the equation, for better or worse, and things are even simpler. Well, that's what renowned fried chicken expert KFC did in China. Users on Twitter first spotted these self-driving food trucks of sorts in the country serving up contact-free fried chicken last week. These restaurants on wheels appear to be part of a partnership between a Chinese company called Neolix and Yum Brands, which owns KFC. Neither Yum or Neolix immediately returned Roadshow's request for comment, but doing a little digging unearthed the connection. In yesterday's video, we was discussing Apple avoiding fair play in China. Let's have a look at some of your comments. This is courtesy of Rick Pierce. I don't buy Apple and never will. If you believe in freedom, don't buy anything knowingly made with forced labor. Stand quietly by, and you will be next. Be an advocate for freedom. Thanks for the comment, Rick. This is courtesy of Turd Sandwich. The world sucks. It takes a certain type of personality to achieve power, and these aren't the type of people that go volunteer at the animal shelter to walk dogs in their free time. Thanks for the comment, Turd Sandwich. B-Jack says, it is so sad what has happened to Apple. I was a fanboy of them back in the 80s and 90s when they were the best on the market, but very few would pay the extra. And Microsoft was the bully. Now Apple is the evil one. Thanks for the comment, B-Jack. And one quick programming note before we move on today. I will continue to cover the Three Gorges Dam in the future. Unfortunately, there just hasn't been much new news about the dam. I just wanted to update you guys on that, and I will have more as news becomes available. Thanks for watching this show today. If you're finding it informative, please consider giving the channel a subscribe or the video a share. And we're going to wrap this up with a series of interesting tweets. And I think that's a good place to wrap up today's video. I hope that you found it informative, and check back soon for more content.